First and foremost, what were your impressions of Salt Lake City as a whole? Because you had never been here, right?
Yeah, never been to Utah. It was, first off, beautiful. It's breathtaking when you step off the plane. But more than that, I think I was just struck by the passion that Salt Lake City has for hockey. To walk toward Delta Center from downtown and see fans lined up around the building, that was amazing. I wasn't expecting that. I figured, the building might be half full, might have 10,000 people, but to essentially be turning fans away because it was that crowded, it was like that hit home, but it went to a whole other level when you got inside. You heard the environment, how just not only proud people are to be from Utah, but there's this kind of interesting dynamic when you have a welcome to the team night like that, right? Welcome the team night. You have fans that want to see what these players are all about, but you also have the players who are going in kind of like, huh, what? I've never been to Utah before. What's this place like? I want to see it with my own eyes. But it's another thing to feel the electricity that was in Delta Center that night, because hockey players can be put in sort of awkward situations. They're generally pretty shy when it comes to a camera and a microphone, and they wanted to introduce themselves as well and let people in Utah know what they're about, and they did that, and it kind of felt like a match made in heaven.
Yeah, it was a really cool night to be a part of something so big for Utah, and obviously to have you there as well too, considering how much you cover the game and you've done so for many years. I wanted to ask you about your impressions of the venue itself. Obviously, big renovations coming in terms of expanding seating, better vision to watch the game of hockey. It is a basketball arena where the seats are on top of you. But what do you make of those potential plans or those future plans for the Delta Center to give the hockey fans the best possible product?
I think it requires some patience, but I like the vision, because when you're in that building, you realize how loud it is. And is it perfect right now? No, it's not. That one end of the arena where the stage was set up, it's going to be some tough sledding there. But that's okay. Remind you that just in a welcome the team night, there's 3x of what the Coyotes would have played in front of in Mullet Arena on Arizona State University's campus. So this is an enormous step forward in terms of environment and atmosphere for the new Utah players. And I have zero doubt that when you look at the other renovations that have already taken place inside Delta Center, you walk through the door, it doesn't feel like a 30-plus-year-old arena. I've been to every building in the NHL many times, and you can tell the ones that the work hasn't been put in. The funding hasn't been there to renovate and really get it up to current modern day standards. That felt like a modern arena. They've done a really nice job keeping up with it. And so the next step in this evolution of it, I'd imagine, it'll just take time before ultimately it's a 17,000 seat, beautiful arena that's oriented for hockey and basketball.
Looking at the roster of the actual moving pieces that came to Utah for Utah hockey fans, or maybe now new Utah hockey fans, because how could you not if you didn't like the sport before, when you've got this new shiny object in front of you here in the Delta Center where the Jazz play? But what can people expect from this team as an actual competitive program year one? What will they get?
Well, they're getting a team that's on the right track. Bill Armstrong has had a meticulous plan as steward of the Arizona Coyotes. And what I would say is he's been doing a lot with very little. That's maybe the most exciting part about this transition from Arizona to Utah is he did a nice job, and so did Andre Tournier as head coach. But what about in a city and organization with proper backing? How much how much better will they be able to do their jobs? It's some of them are small things, but in talking to some former Coyotes players, they were saying to me, we're excited to go because for the last number of years, we've been dealing with the worst plane in the league, the worst hotels, the worst food, the poorest paid training and equipment staff, I can't even get a proper nutritional smoothie after a practice or game. Little things like that, that I'm sure the general fan is sitting there going, okay, this guy's got the world's tiniest violin that he's complaining about. But the truth is, when it comes to icing a true competitive Stanley Cup contending NHL team, you need all of those things. And if those, travel details or smoothie details aren't in order, just imagine what the rest of the front office looks like. Just imagine what the rest of the process is in terms of moving contracts around and signing players and acquiring players. If you don't have the foundation in place, the rest of the house is going to crumble. And I think of that when it comes to Utah. So Ryan Smith originally wanted an expansion team. I think Utah is 2,000 times better off landing the Coyotes because A, they can hit the ground running, and B, they now have some fuel, some jet fuel to be able to go and be a lot better because of what they might be able to do next, whether it's spending. I don't think they're going to have a huge diversion from their plan. They're not ready to take the jump, I don't think, yet from non-playoff team to being contender. But with the moves made this summer, can they go from being non-playoff team to playoff team? I think that's 100% out there and on the table. And they're going to have the ability this summer. I just put out my new top 50 free agents list today on dailyfaceoff.com. There's lots of players that they can target that are going to make this team instantly more competitive without having to break the bank and commit serious term that's going to get them into trouble later.